Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Well, as you guys can see here on the table, I have one of my favorite RC cars, maybe my favorite one, the Tamiya Blitzer Beetle. I didn't put the flames on this and go all out when I made it, but I did my own little touches where I added the light bar across the top. I did, like I said, I didn't put the flames on. I did go brushless on it. I kind of wanted to go plain look, but that started to get a little bit tiresome. And I didn't want to do the flames because everybody has the flames. And it is a nice look, but I was a little bit tired of that. So I thought, you know what? I think I'm going to make my Blitzer Beetle into the Punisher Blitzer Beetle. You guys know the Punisher from Marvel Comics. He always drove kind of a cool car. I think he had a van in the comics. I think in the movies he may have had a GTO or something. I'm trying to remember from that first movie with Thomas Jane. But I thought this would be really cool as a Punisher Blitzer Beetle, and that's the look that I decided to go with. I already have black, so I thought, you know what, I just need to get rid of some of the orange and go with white. So what I'm going to do is, first of all, I'm going to take the wheels off of the Acro Shot. Those are on-road wheels, and then they have the white rims, or white wheels and on-road tires, I should say, and put those onto the Blitzer Beetle. So that'll give me the white wheels and on-road tires look that I'm going for. But then I was thinking, you know what, I need to get rid of like this front and orange front end here. So I looked around eBay and I found a spare one. So I ordered that. It came with the chrome pieces too that go inside of the headlights. And I realized, I can paint this white, and then that'll give me a white accent. And I can, of course, it also gave me the windshield wipers. I can't figure out where I put them, but I may or may not put those on. That's not really a big deal. But that'll give me the white accents on the black, which I think would be a pretty cool look. And of course, I think the light bar also adds a bit of a Punisher look for some reason. And then I got some of the, this is actually from the Monster Beetle, some of the glass, plastic glass pieces. So I've got new lenses to put on for the headlights on the new piece. And then this is a bit of a smoked tint, I think, where these are clear. So I don't think I'm going to replace the glass because I already have, I kind of like the decals that are on the windows. I didn't order a new decal sheet. So I'm going to put that on. Now I've been painting this white, and it's difficult to get. I didn't order a can of Tamiya white paint, which I should have. I'm using just a can of Rust-Oleum or something from the store that says it's work on plastic. It worked well at first, and then I kind of messed up a little spot where it stuck to the cardboard because I didn't let it dry well enough. And the problem right now is just I got enough coats on it to try to get rid of the orange leaking through to where the it's a bit tacky. So I'm trying to dry it. I may maybe even try to put a thin, quick shot of clear coat over it, something to seal it in, because again, I should have ordered some Tamiya paint, and end of the day I may have to just redo it, order a new one if I can't get rid of that tackiness. But it looks good right now. I'm just letting it dry some more. So that's why I don't have it here on the table. I'm letting that dry. But I needed to have some more to that. I can't just have a black car, white, and call it the Punisher. This is the stuff I think is going to be the coolest. Now, one thing I already did stick on is I did go for this off AliExpress. I picked up a couple of these for like $3 a piece. These aluminum blocks with the fan on it. So it's like the cooling fins, but it's got an active fan on it. So I think that's going to, add kind of a neat look to it. Maybe something the Punisher would have. I put it on at first and didn't know if I liked it better than the original just cooling fin block, but I'm starting to like it. So I'm probably going to leave that on. But I need to have some Punisher look to the car. So that's where I ordered myself some other stuff. Now, I'll put a link at the eBay to all these things that I bought, because I think I got all this off eBay in terms of like some of the custom stuff. And then, of course, that cooling thing I got off of AliExpress. But first thing I got was off eBay here. I'll see if it has the name here. If not, it was NMI Plastics. I think it's Northern Michigan Plastics. Just some 3D prints. And I saw he makes a lot of license plates for RC cars. in different colors, and I think you could have up to, was it 8 letters or whatever the Punisher is. So I couldn't fit the Punisher, but I can get Punisher on there. So I asked him, you know, I ordered these. They're only a couple of dollars to order Punisher plates. These are going to be difficult to see on the camera, but they're white with the black text Punisher. They do come with a license plate frame, which I may or may not put on. I'll have to attach this, put it up to the car, and see if I like it with the plate frame or not. They also threw in a little plastic cup and like a soda can and stuff. I don't know if I'm going to have any place to put that in the car, so I probably won't use those. So I thought that'd be pretty cool. Basically, it's going to be up here, so it's going to fit right up here instead of the California license plates. I'm going to put that on the new front piece, and then I'll just take the one off the rear here and mount this where the one in the rear is, because these are basically the same size as the Tamiya license plates. But then I was looking around online, and I finally found somebody that sold some decals of the Punisher. And this comes from Max Custom Designs, I think out of Texas. And I actually hit him up on Instagram because I wanted to know if it had shipped yet. And he said, yeah, it's shipping today. And he threw in a whole bunch of extra stickers. There's a whole bunch of decals. There is all these cool Punisher decals. And I'm still narrowing down what I'm going to put on here. I don't know yet if I'm going to put on, you know, I'll probably put skulls on the doors, something on top of the car, and then figure out which one I want to put across the hood of the Beetle. But I think these decals, along with all the other stuff I'm doing, the license plate and the different wheels and tires, may come out to look pretty darn cool. I don't know if this is going to be like the most badass looking thing ever, but I do think it's going to look pretty darn good. So yeah, at this point, we just need to move forward in time and see how this thing turns out. There it is, guys. It's all finished. I think it looks fantastic. I'm really happy with the way it turned out. Heck, look, I even put the Punisher shirt on to celebrate. So let's just go over again all the stuff that I did, as you saw in the opening, and just see how it turned out. Now, the white front end here, I think it turned out pretty good. That paint is dried a little bit more since when I filmed that. It has a little bit of tackiness to it still, but again, I had to put so many coats of paint on to cover up that orange, including some primer as well, just to get it to try to cover that. And then when I had to, you know, press it down and snap it in and screw it into the body, that's whenever it scuffed up a little bit. But I have some really fine, almost polished type sandpaper I use to take out some of the blemishes, but it's not perfect. And you can also see those 3D printed, if I can say it right, license plates turned out really, really well on the front and the rear. I did decide to go with the frames on the plates because I think it really added a nice accent to it with the white and the black. Of course, I kept the light bar on. I thought that was already sort of a Punisher type look that I had on the original original orange and black build. And then I swapped out the motor. I had this orange 4300 kV motor, and it did not look, it really looked like a bruise or a sore thumb on this build because it just contrasted the whole build. So I found this black and silver. You're not going to see it too well here, especially where I've got the camera positioned, but I put it in here just today as the last piece I was waiting on. It really completes the build and makes it look, the color schemes all look good. And then I made this custom tailpipe. I always thought the back end kind of needed that, and I thought the tailpipe would look so cool, and I've seen some other people do that online. So I was looking around, I got an idea, and I don't remember who it was. Several people have done this. I'm using a ballpoint pen. So I was looking through, and I found one that sort of looked like a tailpipe, and then I just cut it a little bit shorter, and then attached it to the rear end. Of course, after I painted it, I used some of the gunmetal Tamiya paint that I had, and painted this. And I think it looks pretty good. You could probably go with chrome. Chrome is just so hard to use. It's hard to use chrome spray paint, so I'm happy with this. It completes sort of the black look. It has a bit of that gunmetal has a bit of like speckled metallic look in it when you look really closely. And then I, of course, applied the Punisher text that I had, but you see I keep doing this. It comes up on the sides because of the rounded nature of it. I applied a little clear coat on it to try to help hold it down. It's better. It would really peel up bad before I did that, but it's not perfect. This is rather delicate. I've not broke it so far. But I'm not going to do it now just because I don't want to keep unscrewing and screwing in. Because it's a ballpoint pen, I can actually screw this off and remove it and just leave the base on here. And that way, if I want to drive a little harder, I don't have to risk busting this, because this is going to bust very, very easily. But I could just loosen the nut and take the whole thing off. If I was really going to bash it hard, I would certainly do that. Let's see what else. Of course, the decals. That was one of the hardest things to do in this whole build. Not applying it. Applying the decals was pretty easy. But just trying to decide which ones to use. On the front hood, I went with the skull with the stripe through it here. I ideally would have liked to have a full-size decal, like a giant skull or something across the hood, but that lip that runs down the hood here is just something you can't apply a decal over very easily. You almost need to cut it in pieces. I just don't trust myself, so I thought I'd offset one here. I think it looks good. I'm happy with that looks. And put the Punisher text up here on the top. Then I added a little Punisher skull behind it, which I think adds a nice accent to the text. On the sides, I applied the Punisher decals on the driver's and passenger side doors. Then I applied on the Punisher text with a little skull in front of it. I think, yeah, that's two different pieces. So two decals here. Hopefully I'm pointing to it. If not, it's right here as well. Right up above the wheel wells. And on the rear, I applied one of these skulls right here. I have another one I could put here, but I thought I'd leave one little remnant of the Blitzer Beetle on there. Leave that original Blitzer Beetle decal. And I think it looks fine, but I might take it off and eventually put another skull over there. And I just love this black and white scheme. Now I kept some, like besides the light bar, I kept the sound system in here that makes the engine sounds you guys saw in the intro. Some people aren't fans of that. I have it in one other build because I was given to free to review. But you know, if you're a traditionalist, you want to keep the remote control car sound. I get that. This is probably one of the only builds that I could think of, certainly the only one I have, where the motor sound really just fits it, especially with the Punisher build. I just think the motor completes the build. You know, a lot of other cars, it might sound stupid. I know I stuck one in the Acro shot just to see. It's probably dumb. I may pull it out of there, but it just fits this build. I think you guys would agree. And the last thing that I did, and I hope I'm not forgetting anything here, is I stuck this little drone LED light that I reviewed years ago. I put it on my Mavic Mini. And you can set it to red, green, and white. You can strobe or solid. Of course, I wanted solid color. I wanted to make like a accented color, especially at nighttime, between this and the white lights in the front. So you guys can see that green looks, red looks pretty good. White doesn't look very good at all. Green looks awesome. And the black and green, almost like Gravedigger, the monster truck with the green and the fluorescent green and the black. I just think it looks awesome. This is rechargeable off USB. I don't know how, it'll probably go for hours. I've charged it up the other day. It's been sitting for years, and thankfully the battery's all fine in it. You can pick one of these up for $20 to $30 on Amazon, and it's just Velcroed in there. It's extremely lightweight, and it'd be great for a car. Something I never ever thought of before because it's meant for drones, but man, the accent that it adds to this car, I think just looks fantastic. So yeah, I'm just super happy with this. Now, you know, besides the motor, I think this motor I put in here, I don't know who makes it. It looks nicer than that Ghoul RC one. I took it out and drove in the driveway, and it has I think it's a little punchier. It's the same KV rating. It is a little longer. It's a 3660, so maybe that's part of the reason. It just has a little bit more, when I accelerate, it gets a little bit, it doesn't ride a wheelie, but you can see really the front end lift up. I don't think it did that before, so I'm happy with this motor choice. And I still have one of those cheap $20 120 amp ESCs. I think I'm going to swap that out pretty soon. Being sensorless, it may not make much of a difference, but you're sort of stuck to 2S. Yeah, you could go 3S on that, and I don't really plan to go 3S, but I think a better ESC warrants it in this build, even though I'm going to just stick into 2S on this car. I think so, at least. But it would do a little better. It does tend to, you know, there's some cogging when you accelerate and stuff. It's not bad on this car, but it might be a little bit less noticeable on a better ESC, though. When you're sensorless, you're always going to deal with that. So ideally I'd go with sensor, but I'd have to then replace the motor as well. So yeah, that's pretty much it. The only things I want to possibly do is put the driver in here. That'll help hide some of the wires. It looks kind of tacky. I don't think I'm gonna put the sunroof back in, or this, this panel. If I do, I have to cut a little hole or notch out to run the wire, because I do want to leave the light bar up here. But I kind of like the open look that it has like that. But yeah, I'm gonna put the driver in there. He does have that helmet on, but I'd like it to look sort of like the Punisher. I need to get some flesh tone paints and such. But I'm hoping, at least within the black body, I could leave that and put a skull for my decals on his shirt to make it look like the Punisher's driving the car. So that's the last thing I want to do. But I got to get around to that and buy the flesh tone paint and stuff to paint the driver. But otherwise, I think the car is complete. The AcroShot wheels and tires look great. And since a lot of people drive the AcroShot with the Blitzer Beetle tires and wheels for off-road, I'm going to just leave them. Even though the orange rims or wheels don't look the greatest on the AcroShot, these wheels look fantastic on this, especially the white wheels, because you got to have white to fit the white and black scheme. All right, I don't think I need to do a lot of driving in this car. You can see in my other videos how it looks driving this, even though the motor's slightly different. You could watch those other videos of the Blitzer Beetle. I'll try to remember to put links down in the video description to the build video of the original Blitzer Beetle and my drive review and a bash. And I've got several videos. But I'll probably end this video, just a little video here of just driving in a circle here in the basement, very slow with the lights down, so you guys can just see the lights as this car just moves in a circle, and then I'll end the video. So appreciate you guys checking out this video. I hope you enjoy this. If you do, I'll try to do something like this in the future, maybe something with the Lunchbox van. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. Click that bell so you're notified every time I do upload a video. And as always, guys, have a wonderful day.
The power of the dark side.